Okay, now this is the leasehold mortgage. I touched on this a month ago. Let me give some background on this. So I've said we want to get a sophisticated and very solvent ground lessee developer in as our ground lessor client's tenant. And we're going to look to solvency of the ground lessee, but if the ground lessee is looking at building a $75 million project on our client's 1 acre fee parcel in downtown Palo Alto, absolutely certain that the ground lessee doesn't have a spare $75 million sitting around to do their building. So it is absolutely required in ground leases that the ground lessee have the right to mortgage their leasehold interest in the ground lease to obtain financing to construct their improvements. Very importantly, your client, the ground lessor's fee interest in the property can never be encumbered by the leasehold mortgage. I mean, I have had 1 or 2 instances where for a short temporal period of time, we've agreed to subordinate the fee interest, but it's very rare. So that if the ground lessee does borrow $75 million from a lender and then doesn't do a good job in developing, and the lender forecloses on its leasehold mortgage, the foreclosure does not impact in any way your client, the ground lessor's fee interest in the building. So this raises the concern, though, in the leasehold mortgage area, that if the ground lessee does default under its mortgage, then the ground lessee, I mean, the leasehold mortgagee needs the right to either cure the default or most likely foreclose the leasehold mortgage, the ground lessee out of the property. And when they foreclose on their leasehold mortgage, the leasehold mortgagee will then put in their own tenant to be your client's new ground lessee of the property. So we build into our ground leases very specific requirements as to who the leasehold mortgagee can put into possession of the property. We also build into the leasehold mortgage clauses in the ground leases very specific periods of time during which the leasehold mortgagee has the right to cure the ground lessee's interest. If the leasehold mortgagee doesn't cure, for instance, a monetary default under the ground lease within 60 days, then things flip around. Then the ground lessor has the right to come in and foreclose on its ground lease. Foreclose on its ground lease, which will, in some instances, wipe out the leasehold mortgage. It should wipe out the leasehold mortgage. So this is why the leasehold mortgagee needs generous time periods in which to cure the defaults, not under the leasehold mortgage, but to cure the defaults under the ground lease itself.